made the most of the opportunities they've been given. Together, we have the same mission. Over the course of your life, you will find that things are not always fair. You will find that things happen to you that you do not deserve and that are not always warranted. But you have to put your head down and fight, fight, fight. Never, ever, ever give up. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right. Nothing worth doing ever, ever, ever came easy. And the more righteous your fight, the more opposition that you will face. In your hearts are inscribed the values of service, sacrifice, and devotion. Now you must go forth into the world and turn your hopes and dreams into action. America has always been the land of dreams because America is a nation of true believers. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, they prayed. When the founders wrote the Declaration of Independence, they invoked our Creator 4 times. Because in America, we don't worship government, we worship God. It is why our currency proudly declares, "In God we trust." And it's why we proudly proclaim that we are one nation under God. The story of America is the story of an adventure that began with deep faith, big dreams, and humble beginnings. The next generation of American leaders never, ever give up. There'll be times in your life you'll want to quit. Never quit. Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Demand the best from yourself. The more people tell you it's not possible, that it can't be done, the more you should be absolutely determined to prove them wrong. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep have the courage to be yourself. America is better when people put their faith into action. Pray to God and follow His teachings. Today, each of you begins a new chapter as well. When your story goes from here, it will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. You will build a future where we have the courage to chase our dreams no matter what the cynics and the doubters have to say. You will have the confidence to speak the hopes in your hearts and to express the love that stirs your souls. As long as you have pride in your beliefs, courage in your convictions, and faith in God, then you will not fail. As long as America remains true to its values, loyal to its citizens, and devoted to its Creator, then our best days are yet to come. May God bless the class of 2017. May God bless the United States of America. And I just want to let you know that God blesses you. And I want to just say, you are special in every way. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Looking for a fast way to track what's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas, and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Boards. 31. Dixie 2025. Trump says polls are rigged, claims real support. Is higher President Trump posted on Truth Social that recent polling is rigged, claiming the true number is 64%. He tied the message to what he called a strong border, low inflation, a powerful military, and a strong economy, and ended with a Happy New Year message. Truth Social branded ETFs begin trading. A set of Truth Social branded exchange-traded funds launched for trading on the New York Stock Exchange. The sponsor says the first 5 funds are now available, marketed as America First-themed equity ETFs. UN pushes major budget cuts and staffing reductions. The United Nations is moving forward with deep cost-cutting, with reports centered on hundreds of millions in budget reductions and large staffing cuts. The move is tied to a broader effort to shrink core spending and reduce positions across the organization. Disney agrees to $10 million penalty over children's privacy claims. Disney agreed to pay a $10 million civil penalty to resolve allegations tied to children's online privacy rules. Federal officials say the issue involved how certain content was labeled on YouTube and the compliance steps required under child privacy protections. Headline: Russia's UVB-76 radio station broadcasts Swan Lake script, Russia's long-running shortwave station known as UVB-76, sometimes called the Buzzer, broadcast classical music including Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. The transmission was monitored and recorded by shortwave radio listeners who track the station's activity. No official explanation was given by Russian authorities, and the station later returned to its normal signal. HHS freezes child care payments to Minnesota amid fraud allegations. The Trump administration says it has frozen child care funding to Minnesota while demanding stronger verification and a full review. Federal officials say the freeze follows multiple fraud investigations and is meant to stop improper payments until accountability checks are in place. DHS audits Somali U.S. citizen immigration cases for possible fraud. The Trump administration says it is auditing immigration files involving U.S. citizens of Somali origin to look for fraud that could trigger denaturalization proceedings. Civil liberties groups criticize the move, while the administration argues it is focused on fraud prevention and enforcement. Federal operations surge in Minnesota daycare fraud probe. Federal agencies have increased on-the-ground activity in Minnesota tied to alleged fraud at daycare centers, following new claims circulating online and ongoing investigations into broader misuse of public programs. Officials say the focus is identifying fake operations and stopping improper payouts. CSX train derailment in Kentucky, leaks molten sulfur. A CSX freight train derailed in Kentucky, leaking molten sulfur and sparking a fire. Officials issued a shelter-in-place order during the response, and authorities say no injuries were reported as crews worked to contain the hazard and begin cleanup. 4 found dead. After welfare checks in Washington State, police say 4 people were found dead during welfare checks at 2 homes in Mercer Island and Issaquah, and investigators believe the cases may be connected. Authorities are treating it as a major multi-agency investigation as details develop. Texas Governor's Abbott appointee killed in McAllen. Shooting. Police in McAllen, Texas say a prominent businessman appointed by Governor Greg Abbott to a state commission was shot and killed. Investigators say the case is being handled as a homicide and a suspect has been identified. Freemasons seek court action against London Met Police disclosure rule. Freemasons are pursuing legal action in the UK after the Metropolitan Police moved to require officers and staff to declare Masonic membership. The Met says the rule is about transparency and public trust, while critics call it discriminatory. More performers cancel after Kennedy Center adds Trump's name. Additional performers have canceled shows at the Kennedy Center after the board voted to add President Trump's name to the institution. Kennedy Center leadership criticized the cancellations and signaled potential legal action in some disputes over contracts. Year-end deportation flights arrive in Guatemala. Photos and reporting show deportation flights arriving in Guatemala as 2025 closes, with families meeting returning migrants at the airport. The images highlight ongoing removals and the continued pace of immigration enforcement actions.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports acun.top, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Acun Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toaster and tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Acun Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Acun's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help acun.top keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas, and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here. From the Q Research Boards. China launches major military drills around Taiwan. China's military is running large-scale drills around Taiwan, including air and naval operations and simulated strikes. Beijing says the moves are a warning against Taiwan independence and outside interference. Taiwan's government condemned the drills and said it is monitoring closely. President Trump confirms U.S. strike on a Venezuela loading dock. President Trump says the U.S. hit a dock area in Venezuela that he claims was used to load drugs onto boats. The White House has not released operational details, and agencies have declined to comment on who carried it out. The remarks mark an escalation in the administration's anti-narco campaign tied to Venezuela. Southcom says Joint Task Force strike killed 2 suspected narco-terrorists. U.S. Southern Command says Joint Task Force Southern Spear carried out a lethal strike on a vessel it says was operated by designated terrorist organizations and moving along narco-trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific. Southcom says 2 men were killed and no U.S. forces were harmed. AP reports the U.S. has carried out its 30th strike on an alleged drug smuggling boat. The Associated Press reports the U.S. military conducted another strike on a boat accused of drug smuggling in the Eastern Pacific, bringing the total to 30 strikes since early September. The report says the campaign has drawn scrutiny from lawmakers over legal authority and civilian risk concerns. SBA pauses annual funding to Minnesota amid suspected PPP fraud probe. The Small Business Administration says it is pausing annual funding to Minnesota while it investigates suspected Paycheck Protection Program fraud. The claim being cited publicly is about $430 million in flagged PPP activity. Minnesota officials have faced growing pressure to address fraud allegations across multiple programs. Reuters. FBI says it is investigating Minnesota fraud allegations. Reuters reports the FBI is investigating alleged fraud activity in Minnesota after the issue drew major national attention. The report notes immigrant rights advocates say fraud inquiries must not become a pretext for broad targeting of communities. Federal officials say they are focused on fraud and accountability. Viral daycare video sparks new Minnesota fraud investigations. A viral video helped trigger fresh scrutiny of alleged fraud tied to daycare centers in Minnesota. Federal authorities and media reports say investigators are checking licensing, enrollment claims, and funding flows. The core question is whether taxpayer-funded programs were billed for services that were not actually delivered. Trump renews threat to sue Fed Chair Jerome Powell for incompetence. President Trump again floated a possible lawsuit against Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, using the phrase incompetence tied to renovations at the Fed's headquarters. The comments add to public pressure on the central bank and have raised fresh concerns about the Fed's independence. Trump and Netanyahu meet. Trump says they don't fully agree on the West Bank. President Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and said the two do not fully agree about the West Bank. Trump did not detail the disagreement, but said he believes a solution can be reached. The West Bank remains one of the hardest issues in the wider conflict. Trump warns Hamas must disarm quickly or face severe consequences. Standing with Netanyahu, President Trump said Hamas will be given a very short period of time to disarm. He warned that if disarmament does not happen, there will be serious consequences. The comments come as international negotiations continue over hostages and next steps in Gaza. Reuters. Trump says he was very angry about alleged Ukraine attack on Putin's residence. Reuters reports President Trump said he was very angry after Russia's president told him Ukraine tried to attack Putin's residence. Ukraine denies the claim. Trump said the timing was wrong during sensitive peace efforts and said the U.S. would look into what happened. Reuters. Russia claims 91 drones targeted Putin's residence. Ukraine denies it. Reuters reports Russia's foreign minister claimed Ukraine launched 91 long-range drones toward Putin's residence in the Novgorod region and said all were neutralized. Ukraine's president rejected the accusation and suggested Russia was using it to undermine talks and justify escalation. Iran says 3 satellites launched aboard a Russian Soyuz rocket. Iran says 3 satellites reached orbit on a Russian Soyuz launch in what Iranian media described as an Earth observation effort. The launch underscores deepening technical cooperation between Tehran and Moscow. Western governments continue to watch Iran's space program closely because of dual-use concerns. London's Met Police defends Freemason Declaration rule. As legal fight begins, London's Metropolitan Police says it will defend its requirement that officers and staff declare if they are Freemasons. The Freemasons' leadership has sought legal action to block the policy. The Met has framed the rule as an integrity and anti-corruption measure. House Democrats plan John 6 anniversary hearing. House Democrats say they will hold a special hearing on January 6, 2026, marking 5 years since the Capitol breach. Organizers say it will focus on the attack's impact and ongoing public safety and election security concerns. Republicans have criticized similar efforts as political theater. Reports highlight Soros family donations to New York AG Letitia James. Multiple outlets cite campaign finance records showing donations from George Soros and family members to New York Attorney General Letitia James over recent years. James remains a central legal figure in high-profile cases involving President Trump and other major targets. The filings are public and trackable. ABC. Comer urges Bondi review Biden-era auto pen actions and pardons. ABC News reports. House Oversight Chairman James Comer is pressing Attorney General Pam Bondi to scrutinize executive actions and pardons tied to former President Biden's reported auto pen use. Bondi has said she is reviewing the matter. The legal debate centers on authority, procedure, and proof. CMS launches Office of Rural Health Transformation. To run $50 program, CMS announced the establishment of the Office of Rural Health Transformation, designed to oversee a multi-year rural health program and provide states technical help and oversight. The agency says the office will coordinate federal-state partnerships and track performance across the program's timeline. Reuters. Rural Health Initiative will send at least $147 million per state in 2026. Reuters reports the administration is rolling out large rural health funding allocations starting in 2026, with a baseline amount for each state and additional funding tied to needs and project plans. CMS says states will be expected to meet benchmarks, with oversight and accountability measures included. Tesla cathode deal with L&F fades from disclosures. Reports say a Tesla battery materials arrangement involving South Korea's L&F has effectively disappeared from recent disclosures, raising questions about supply plans and contract status. Neither side has provided a full public explanation. Markets are watching for what it signals about sourcing and demand. CIA site Violet black site reporting resurfaces in Europe. Past reporting about a CIA detention site in Lithuania, sometimes referred to as Site Violet, has resurfaced in online discussion. The issue ties back to earlier investigations and allegations about post-9/11 detention programs. Any new official confirmation would need to come from courts or governments. Mexico. Journalist faces terrorism and organized crime charges over reporting. In Mexico, a local crime reporter is facing terrorism and organized crime charges in a case that has triggered backlash from press freedom advocates. Critics argue the prosecution risks criminalizing journalism. Authorities have not backed down, and the case is being closely watched nationwide. White House says Trump had a positive call with Putin on Ukraine. The White House said President Trump held what it called a positive call with Russian President Vladimir Putin about Ukraine. The call came as the U.S. continues separate engagements with Ukraine's leadership. Officials have not released a full readout of commitments or timelines. Ireland plans to push EU-wide ID-verified social media accounts. Ireland's leadership says it plans to use its upcoming EU presidency to push for ID-verified social media accounts across the bloc. Supporters say it could reduce anonymous abuse and foreign influence. Critics warn it could harm privacy and lawful anonymous speech. Reports. Rose Lake Capital scrubs names from its website amid scrutiny. Reports say Rose Lake Capital, tied to Repener Ilhan Omar's husband, removed the names of multiple officers and advisors from its website. The change is drawing attention because it coincides with broader scrutiny surrounding Minnesota fraud investigations. The firm has not publicly detailed why the site changed. Illinois investigates public employees over improper pandemic-era PPP loans. Reports citing state investigations say roughly 400 public employees in Illinois are being scrutinized for improperly obtaining PPP loans meant for small businesses during COVID. Investigators are checking eligibility, business claims, and documentation. Officials say improper loans can trigger repayment demands and criminal referrals.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United